Number 10. The bone snapping problem. Picture this. You're floating majestically through space like a slow-motion superhero when suddenly you realize your skeleton has turned into soggy breadsticks. That's not sci-fi drama. It's literally what happens when humans hang out in microgravity too long. Without Earth's gravity constantly dragging your bones down like a clingy ex, your body decides, "Oh, we don't need this dense, solid structure anymore. Let's go with the brittle antique look." Astronauts lose about 1–2% of their bone mass every single month in space. For context, osteoporosis patients on Earth lose that much in an entire year. Your bones basically dissolve faster than an Alka-Seltzer in a frat house punch bowl. By the time you're done orbiting for a year, your femur is one awkward sneeze away from snapping like a breadstick at Olive Garden. Scientists have astronauts doing resistance exercises in space, strapping themselves to weird treadmill contraptions like medieval torture devices, but even then, the bone loss doesn't fully stop. Imagine coming back from Mars after 2 years and finding out Earth's gravity is basically a heavyweight wrestler sitting on your lap. Step wrong? Snap. Jog. Snap. Try to look cool hopping out of the capsule. Snap, snap city. So yeah, space might not be the final frontier, but it's definitely the final chiropractic bill. Number 9. Brain floaties. Your brain, this squishy 3-pound jelly blob, is spoiled by gravity. On Earth, gravity pulls your brain gently downward, like a sleepy cat in a hammock. But in space? That hammock gets cut, and your brain just floats upward in your skull like a balloon at a depressing birthday party. This is called spaceflight-associated neuroocular syndrome, a fancy way of saying your eyeballs and brain are getting squished. With no gravity pulling fluids downward, blood and cerebrospinal fluid pool in your head. That means astronauts get puffy moon faces, and more terrifyingly, their eyeballs flatten. Flatten, as in the perfectly round marbles that let you see become pancakes. Pancake vision is not a Marvel superpower, it's a medical nightmare. Even worse, this swelling messes with eyesight permanently. Some astronauts come back half-blind, and doctors aren't sure if that damage is fixable. Imagine training your whole life to go to Mars, only to land there and realize you can't see the freaking planet. Your brain basically stages a coup, demanding Earth gravity back, and you're stuck squinting at blurry rocks. So yeah, your brain and eyeballs don't love space. They miss gravity like an ex they pretend not to stalk on Instagram. Number 8. Your body clock breaks. Here on Earth, you've got a handy little biological clock, finely tuned to the 24-hour light and dark cycle. Wake up, coffee, work, memes, bed, rinse and repeat. But in space, that schedule is completely trashed. Orbiting Earth on the International Space Station, you see 16 sunrises and 16 sunsets every single day. Try explaining that to your circadian rhythm. Your body goes, "Oh, cool, the sun's up, time to wake up." Then 45 minutes later, the sun sets, and your body says, "Okay, bedtime." Repeat this confusion loop until your brain has no idea if it's morning, night, or Taco Bell o'clock. Sleep in space is basically one long experiment in frustration. Astronauts get crammed into little sleeping bags velcroed to the wall like human hot pockets, trying to convince their brains to chill out while light flickers outside the window like a strobe rave. And when you don't sleep properly, your memory goes fuzzy, your reaction times slow down, and your mood tanks. Not exactly ideal for operating billion-dollar space equipment or, not dying. So while you're imagining peaceful stargazing in zero gravity, reality is more like permanent jet lag while taped to a wall. Basically, your body clock becomes a time zone that doesn't exist. Number 7. Cosmic popcorn. Let's talk radiation. Not the microwave kind that warms up your hot pocket, but the invisible death confetti blasting through space at nearly light speed. On Earth, we've got this neat little protective bubble called the atmosphere, plus a magnetic field that swats most of the cosmic rays away like an overprotective parent. In space, you're naked. Not literally, unless NASA's budget has really dropped, but your cells are basically unshielded popcorn kernels waiting to pop. Astronauts outside Earth's shield get bombarded with radiation doses that would make a radiologist scream. We're talking DNA damage, cancer risks, and, because the universe has a sense of humor, hallucinations. Yeah, some astronauts report seeing flashes of light inside their eyeballs as cosmic rays slam into their retinas. Imagine trying to sleep while your own brain is running a random laser show. On a long trip to Mars, astronauts could soak up the equivalent of thousands of chest X-rays. And shielding the ship isn't easy. You'd need lead walls thicker than a conspiracy theorist's skull, which makes the spacecraft so heavy it can't launch. So unless we figure out how to build ships out of radiation-proof bubble wrap, space travel is basically like playing Who Wants Cancer, but with worse prize money. Number 6. The toilet problem. You ever complain about public restrooms? Try going to space. You can't just sit on a porcelain throne with gravity doing the heavy lifting. Nope, up there, waste management becomes a full-time engineering nightmare. Astronauts use vacuum toilets with foot straps and thigh bars, basically strapping themselves down like it's Six Flags for bodily functions. And you better get it right, because if the seal isn't tight, let's just say, things float. Imagine chasing that around the cabin. Romance is dead. But the real issue isn't just you, it's hygiene and health. One little mishap with bacteria in microgravity, and suddenly the whole spacecraft is a floating petri dish of regret. NASA takes this so seriously that toilet training is mandatory, and astronauts literally practice on space potty simulators before launch. Yes, that is a real job requirement. Must be good at pooping in a vacuum tube. Now scale that problem up to a Mars mission. Months of cramped quarters, minimal water and no plumbers. It's not just a gross inconvenience, it's a legit survival risk. Space travel may end not because of radiation or bone loss, but because humans can't stop being messy mammals. Number 5. The immune system meltdown. Here's a fun fact. Your immune system hates space almost as much as it hates flu season. In microgravity, your body's defenses basically forget how to immune. White blood cells act sluggish, antibodies drop, and old viruses hiding in your body suddenly go, "Surprise, we're back." Astronauts have literally experienced reactivated chickenpox and herpes in orbit. Nothing like a space mission where your immune system takes a vacation. Add in the stress of confinement, bad sleep, radiation damage, and a diet of freeze-dried sadness, and you've got the perfect storm for disease. Even tiny wounds heal slower in space because your body's repair crew shows up late like a lazy contractor. And let's not forget microbes. Bacteria in space sometimes mutate into supercharged versions of themselves, growing faster and becoming more resistant to antibiotics. Great. So not only are you weak, tired and stressed, but your germs are evolving into mini supervillains. So yeah, it's not Star Trek, it's more like Starsick. Number 4. The muscle evaporation trick. On Earth, your muscles are constantly working. Even when you're just standing in line for coffee, your legs are flexing against gravity. But in space, zero resistance. Your body says, "Oh, we don't need muscles anymore," and starts deleting them like old emails. Within weeks, astronauts lose significant muscle mass, especially in the legs and back. Basically, your quads downgrade from gym rat to wet spaghetti. NASA makes astronauts work out 2 hours a day in orbit, using treadmills, resistance machines, and a bizarre contraption that looks like an evil Bowflex from the future. And even then, they still come back weaker. Imagine returning from Mars and realizing you can't even lift a grocery bag without pulling a space hamstring. And here's the kicker. It's not just your strength. Your endurance tanks too. The heart itself, being a muscle, gets lazy in space. It doesn't have to pump against gravity, so it literally shrinks. Back on Earth, gravity slaps you around again, and your heart struggles to keep blood flowing uphill to your brain. End result? You faint, like an Edwardian lady seeing an ankle. So yeah, space doesn't just steal your muscles, it robs your heart too. It's the universe's worst personal trainer. Number 3. The isolation experiment. Humans are social creatures. Even introverts like knowing other humans exist somewhere beyond the bathroom door. But long-term space travel, it's basically locking yourself in a tin can with the same 5 people for months. No fresh air, no privacy, no DoorDash. Just you, some dehydrated macaroni, and Steve, whose chewing noises make you want to commit orbital homicide. Psychologists call this behavioral health risk. Translation: your brain might lose its marbles when trapped in extreme isolation. Astronauts report mood swings, depression, irritability, and sometimes just full-on emotional shutdowns. It's like being stuck on a never-ending group project in college, except the grade is literally survival. NASA runs isolation experiments on Earth, like the Mars 500 project, where volunteers lived in a fake spaceship for over a year. The results? People got cranky, sleep cycles collapsed, and everyone basically turned into grumpy Sims characters. And that was with the ability to phone Earth. Imagine a real Mars mission where messages take 20 minutes just to get there. You'd argue with someone, send them a passive-aggressive text, and then wait 40 minutes for the fight to continue. So while sci-fi makes space crews look heroic, in reality, it's the real-world spaceship edition, and nobody wants to see that season finale. Number 2. The gravity addiction. Here's the brutal truth. Your body is hopelessly addicted to Earth's gravity. You don't even notice it because you've been marinating in it since birth. But everything about you is built for 1G. Your bones, your muscles, your organs, even your blood flow, it's all finely tuned to this constant downward pull. Take that away, and everything starts glitching. Your spine stretches out in microgravity, so astronauts actually grow a couple of inches taller. Sounds fun until you realize it comes with back pain, worse than a Monday morning commute. Your digestive system, totally confused. Even your sense of balance goes haywire, because your inner ear relies on gravity cues to tell up from down. In space, your brain gets conflicting messages. Cue the space sickness, where you puke while floating. Classy. And here's the scary part. Even if we could survive years in microgravity, adapting to another planet's gravity might be impossible. Mars only has about 1/3 of Earth's pull. That might sound gentle, but your body could end up stuck in some awkward in-between state, too weak for Earth but too adapted to survive well on Mars. Basically, you become an alien in both places, useless everywhere. So congratulations. Gravity owns you, and there's no rehab program. Number 1. The forever distance. All right, let's say we somehow beat all the body horror. Bones snapping, brains swelling, toilets failing, Steve chewing too loudly, and we still want to conquer the stars. There's one last problem. Space is huge, like offensively huge. Even getting to Mars, our next-door neighbor, takes around 6 to 9 months with current rockets. That's 6 to 9 months of floating in a metal closet, dodging radiation, eating freeze-dried sadness, and slowly losing muscle mass until you look like a deflated car dealership balloon. Now let's crank it up. The closest star system, Alpha Centauri, over 4 light-years away. If you launched a spaceship today going as fast as anything humans have ever built, you'd arrive in about 80,000 years. So unless you're okay with your great times 10, 000 grandkids showing up instead, interstellar travel is basically just a cruel joke the universe plays on sci-fi fans.
And yeah, people like to throw around warp drive or cryosleep pods like they're reordering from Amazon Prime, but physics does not care about your optimism.
And yeah, people like to throw around warp drive or cryosleep pods like they're reordering from Amazon Prime, but physics does not care about your optimism. Einstein's speed limit, the speed of light, isn't just a guideline. It's the cosmic cop waiting to slap a ticket on any species that tries to break it. And unless we figure out how to bend space-time like origami, our big cosmic road trip dreams end with, "Sorry, can't make it too far." So while Hollywood shows humans zipping around galaxies like it's Uber in space, the reality is that even getting out of our own solar system is the equivalent of trying to swim across the Pacific with arm floaties. You can start, but you're not finishing. That's all for today. I'll be making similar videos in the future. Subscribe to see them.